sometimes in life you just got to go full throttle. You know, I got to expose myself. I laugh because that's so funny. I got to expose myself on YouTube. And I don't mean that in a way that, community standards violation way of exposing myself. I mean, I'm a positive-minded person. I believe in the positive attitude and the positive framework. I really do believe in that. I think that children should grow up in a healthy, happy, positive environment. Yes. I grew up in a really screwed up situation, in a really rough neighborhood. I was thinking about something earlier this morning, about an incident I saw when I was 14 years old. I haven't talked about this on YouTube, but, not that it's a big secret. Oh my God. I was 14 years old. This is in 1975. And I remember seeing a man get shot right in front of me. This happened like right in front of me. These three men were running. Two men were chasing one man. And the man who was being chased was like maybe about 10 feet or so in front of the other two guys. He fell down. I don't know if he tripped or if he deliberately fell, but he kind of rolled as he fell. He got up, and I remember him having a gun in his hand. It was a 38. It was like the kind of police carry they used to carry. They don't carry it anymore. Like what they call a snub nose 38. It was a revolver. But it was like silver plated or nickel plated. I remember it was very shiny. I remember he fell down. Everything happens real fast, but it just seemed like I could remember it almost like in slow motion. The guy falling down, he came up with the gun, pointed it, popped, and shot the other man right in the stomach. One man who got shot fell. The other guy who was with him, who was chasing the other man, he stopped, stood still. It's like, oh my God, And the other guy who did the shooting, he turned, he ran, And I was standing there, me, my father, and I think one of my brothers. And we were like, oh my God, I was sitting up there with my stunned. My father said, Duck, get behind the car. Because we were right by a car. And he was like, but the shooting was over by that time. The other guy had run. But, and I was just sort of standing there just staring like in shock. Like disbelieving what I saw. The guy who got shot, I know for a fact he did survive. I remember right away when he got shot, he got up and he had blood all over his shirt and everything. Because he had a white shirt. I remember that. The image is so vivid in my mind. And but I know a couple of years later, I saw the guy was going into a store and he was coming out, the man who had got shot. So I know he survived, even after that. But the thing was this. It's about reality. I think what I keep thinking about, when I think about it, happiness and life and everything else, is I lived in a really rough neighborhood where stuff like that happened, all around. There was always shootings. There used to be a bar on the corner. I remember somebody went crazy and shot a bunch of people. No one was killed in that incident. Somebody was killed in the hallway in which I lived. In a building we lived in. Someone was, not only were they killed, they were actually, I guess they were really angry at this person until they mutilated that person's body. I didn't find the body, my father did. But I remember coming home from school later that day and they had mopped up all the blood, but there was still some of it on the floor. People would get killed in that neighborhood. It was rough. So I grew up in a rough neighborhood. And it's not good to be in a place with a lot of tension and stress and everything else. So maybe my positive thinking has come out of that because I know that being positive, healthy, is better than being negative. Now, if that's a bad thing, then so be it. And maybe I'm deluded. Maybe to be undiluted is to be negative. I was thinking about something a person told me. One coworker had said to me. She said, well, when I was talking about being positive, she said, well, I'm realistic. Yeah, see, because everybody thinks being realistic means being negative and pessimistic and lacking hope and expecting the worst. And and basically transmitting that attitude to everybody around you. That's the better way, to always look negative. No. You know, in my job, they're doing a lot of downsizing and laying off. And, you know, I may eventually get laid off. I've been working for so many years. I'm only a couple of years away from retirement, and I may lose that. But, you know, I have to maintain a positive attitude. Maybe I am, like the name of that book, there's a book out there now that's like on the bestsellers list called Bright Sided. And it's about how, it's basically an anti-positive book that shows how positive thinking has brought down the economy. Well, you know what? I disagree with what that woman wrote in that book. But maybe she's right. And maybe being positive is wrong. And maybe I'm wrong. But that's okay. Because I'm going to stick to what I think. Because I believe I'm right. But, you know, just like what Lincoln said about the Civil War. You know, if I'm right, you know, everyone telling me that I was wrong, you know, that doesn't matter. If the end brings me out all right, fine. However, if I'm wrong, 10 angels in heaven saying that I was right means nothing to me. The bottom line is what's going to bring me out okay in the end. And I think that having a positive attitude will bring me out just fine. Because it has done so in the past, I believe it will do so in the future. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. But I'd rather be wishful thinking than to be a person who lives in constant and total despair.